get busy living or get busy what?
Podcasting.
Dying. Oh, well, what's the difference? Oh,
yeah.
Hey everyone, welcome to The Swamp. It's our podcast. It's an acronym.
Stands for some whack-ass movie podcasting.
And this month, we decided to let my mom pick all the movies that we're going to talk about, and she decided to make us these categories. We had to choose, and she said that this was Stephen King week, and that we had to pick between, I believe it was this and Stand By Me, and we decided to go for this because Miss Emily here has never seen this movie, which is insane. Like, had you even seen like bits and pieces on TV?
Yes, definitely bits and pieces, and I knew how it went. You know, that's pretty unavoidable if you've been on the planet for 25 years during the age of the internet. But yeah, no, I did not know a whole lot. It's one of those things I probably like took a nap while my mom watched it, you know?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, so one of those. I knew it was good, but I had avoided watching it for so long because I thought it was like 3 hours. And I didn't want to give it that.
I can dispel a bit of this mysticism around this movie for you regarding...
what is it? The Berenstein Bears thing? What?
Oh, Mandela Effect, right?
Effect, yeah.
Well, so the reason why it was on TV so much, so to get into it, Shawshank Redemption this week, 1994, bitch, like, it's a Stephen King movie adaptation. It's generally regarded as, like, one of the best movies of all time. It was number 1 on IMDb for a while, which was a big deal, because it, like, outranked The Godfather. It was like a Paddington situation where, like, Shawshank, you know... surpassed The Godfather and everyone freaked the fuck out or something.
Yeah. What's going on?
But I'm excited to talk to Emily because you've never seen it, and I feel like that's pretty unique, but it is culturally ubiquitous because everyone has seen this movie on TV in bits and pieces as a mini series in 20-minute chunks. Like, it is just part of, I don't know about anymore with cable, and you know, people don't do cable, so I don't know if the kids are catching the last 20 minutes of Shawshank these days the way we were. But Rob Reiner, who made Stand By Me and also The Princess Bride and This Is Spinal Tap and big movie guy, he gets successful with directing, he gets some money, he starts Castle Rock production company, right? It's, you see at the beginning of this, produced this movie. And so Castle Rock is a reference to Stephen King. He had done Stand By Me. It's all making sense, right? Castle Rock eventually gets into some business conglomeration with, you know, like Turner Classic Movies, TCM, like Turner, that company, and Castle Rock are now together, right? So Turner releases a channel called TNT, you might recall, and it was just like a movie channel, and it was they had Turner Classic Movies, TCM, but then they also had TNT, and then they had probably a bunch of other ones too. But basically, because of the close business association with Castle Rock, which produced this film, so I'm sure owned the rights to and could just blast it on those networks for free. That's why it was on TV all the fucking time.
And that's also why I feel like it's 3 hours, because you put it on TV. It's a 4.5 hour movie.
Exactly. With commercial breaks on cable, this movie's probably pushing past 3 hours, but really it's 220. So it's a nice 220 pace. And you said the pacing, excellent. Couldn't ask for better pacing.
I did not. I wasn't bored for a second.
No, and that's also why it's great for TV. Also, I can put it on and go do something and know that when I click back in, something good will be happening.
Oh yeah,
or a new, you know, some time will maybe have passed. We're doing a time jump. A new guy's here, whatever. Maybe it's really sad, but it's going to be happy in 20 minutes. You know, it just it keeps your attention and it grabs you.
Yeah, no, I had watched this last night. And I came home and I was like unwinding for the day and like meal prepping and everything. And I was like, well, I got 2.5 hours basically on the nose. I might as well just put it back on. And it was just playing while I was like drawing and cooking. It was awesome.
As God intended. It's meant to be watched half-assed in chunks on your parents' TV, like standing like your dad with your hands on your hips, 20 feet away from the TV. Also a bit of the, not mysticism, but the lore, I guess, behind this movie is that
we're going to get a real history lesson today.
Not too much, but you know, there's a bit to unpack here.
Just
because
a tad.
This movie came out in 1994, which is a wild year for film. Like so many wildly good movies came out that year. And specifically of note, the two that kind of caused the pushback on Shawshank were Pulp Fiction,
of course,
and Forrest fucking Gump. Like, they literally wanted Tom Hanks to be in this movie, and he was like, sorry, I have to go be Forrest Gump. Like,
I can't.
I simply must.
It's my calling. I find that interesting because I didn't realize that Pulp Fiction got as much critical acclaim during its release. Like, to me, in my head, it made more sense as like a cult classic, I suppose. But obviously not the case.
Well, yeah, it certainly, I think it outperformed this movie at the box office, surely. I believe that they had the same opening weekend was what it was.
God.
Yeah, which is always tough. So this movie generally underperformed, did not make its budget back, but then smart marketing. So it was a box office disappointment, earning only 16 of its $25 million budget, its first theatrical release. So pretty bad, right?
Ooh.
Which... They said it was because generally there were no women in the movie, which that's crazy that would be actually cited as a reason why people wouldn't go see it. But they were like,
there want to see girls.
there are no girls in this movie. It's also prison. People didn't like prison movies at the time. I feel like people really got into Prison Break shit. Yeah. And after this. And then they also said that the title was confusing, that people found the title to be confusing and then were just deterred from going to see the movie at all, which I guess I can also maybe see, which is, so fucking stupid.
This is right now, and this is like a couple of days before the Oscars. This sounds like an Academy voter to me.
Oh my God. Not the Academy voters, like, letting ChatGPT vote for them. Like, literally. I'm gonna throw myself off a cliff. Who didn't watch any of them? Just vote for their friends.
Yeah, didn't watch Dune, said it was too long. They couldn't get through the first one. My favorite one that I saw today, from whatever, article it was being pulled from, was people saying, well, I didn't vote for Ralph Fiennes because he already has an Oscar.
And that's not true.
No, he didn't!
And they said I voted for Adrian Brody instead, and he does have an Oscar. You fucking idiot. Yeah, Google is free. Grow a fucking brain. Yeah,
also,
pisses me off.
Speaking of Google being free, I want everyone listening to this podcast to know that if you use ChatGPT to ask questions that you can easily Google, you are not welcome here.
Yeah, that's not cool. That's not cool. Up.
That's like littering.
Yeah, yes, that's digital littering, literally. I haven't thought of it being put that way yet, but that's actually, let's start shaming people because you're going to Google it and it's going to give you the AI overview anyways.
Exactly.
So you just don't need to be doing that much computer processing.
Like, you're already taking a dump on the planet. Why would you take a bigger dump?
Yeah, or just also go touch grass and like find a person to talk to, and also do not trust the answers that ChatGPT is giving you. You need to find information with sources. Not like this podcast. We're just here to chat. We're just here for a good time.
Exactly.
But anyways, I found my source this week is the Wikipedia.
Hell yes.
But so. Basically, they underperformed at the box office, didn't do good, people didn't like it. Then the people who did see it were like, no, you guys were wrong. This movie slaps. It's really good. It got a bunch of Academy Award, sort of buzz, didn't win any. But so then they re-release it after that in the theaters, make a bunch more fucking money. They also make it the #1 VHS distribution. They send the most number of copies to every Blockbuster, every video rental store. So it had like 250,000 circulating copies, and it was like the most checked out movie of all time or something. So they just they were like, people just need to watch it and then they're going to like it. And then of course they put it on TV and blast it all the time. And now it's just sort of regarded as this like holy grail of movie greatness.
If anything, this is the cult classic.
Right, which on paper I would have not guessed. No. I would have thought that this was just like a box office smash.
Exactly. Well, for good reason. It should have been, but obviously for unforeseen circumstances.
But like totally made it up in the back end. They had us in the first half, I'm not gonna lie. And then you know, she goes on to become the movie. Which I will say this movie is good. And I think people who really try to diss on it are like reaching a little bit too much.
Sure.
But I also do understand that this movie is incredibly palatable. This movie isn't very challenging.
Yeah.
Like, even though it's about a prison system and it's about a lot of like heavy emotional topics and stuff, it still manages to be quite light and pleasant, not actually ever showing anything too bad while still being quite intriguing and stimulating. But ultimately doesn't address any actual issues about prison systems.
It was just like the bad guys got.
It's just like a
good
story.
Guys got out.
It's like a story about like, what if we put Jesus in prison?
Literally.
And he was innocent. So you get to like, I feel like the whole movie is like whatever criticisms of the prison system it has, it doesn't matter because your audience always gets to fall back on the fact that they know he didn't do the crime.
Exactly.
So it's whether you view him as human or not, like isn't really ever a question because you know he didn't kill his wife.
Is that the whole thing? People view him as otherworldly? Entity?
No, I was just saying he's Christ-like, as in he shows up to the prison and just like shit starts happening.
Yeah,
you know?
Yeah, fair enough. Okay.
He's stirring the pot.
Exactly.
He's this like he is kind of like a benevolent being because he's just like, I'm tarring the roof and I'm gonna say, do you trust your wife? And Clancy Brown says, excuse me, I'm gonna throw you off this fucking rooftop. And he says, no, I'm Jesus, just listen to me. Like,
all right, fair enough.
Tell me Andy Dufresne is not Christ-like to you.
No, absolutely. I cannot argue with that. But sort of circling back to what you were saying about how it doesn't really ask a lot of you, or a lot out of you as a movie. The one thing that really jumped out to me, there's no racism in prison.
Yeah.
It was fixed. Right. Actually, the only thing that needed to happen was we have to send all the boys to prison. And then it's fine.
The thing about this that I feel like this is what happened to me. This is where I'm piecing my red string together here.
Sure.
Is that this was originally written, the character of Morgan Freeman's character is white in the book. Sure. He's called Red because he's Irish. He makes a joke about it in the movies. Like, they call me Red because I'm Irish. Because it was a joke that they cast Morgan Freeman to play this character who's clearly described as a middle-aged Irish Catholic guy from Maine, right?
Interesting.
When considering casting, they were like, well, let's just like blind cast it. Sort of, we think Morgan Freeman would be great anyways. Put him in. But do not consider to alter the story in any way to reflect that a black man being in prison might be a little different. Like, they just I don't think they changed anything after that. And I'm like, come on, you didn't
and they
think.
Had a relative. I mean, it was a pretty white movie still, but like it was not like Morgan Freeman was the only black dude in prison.
Right. That is well.
Like you saw other characters, you met other characters. But yeah, just thinking and like, especially in terms of course, this movie takes place over the course of like 20 years. It's like what, 1944 to 1960 something.
I think it's more than 20. It's like closer to 30 because I feel like he gets out on his 30-year, right? Red gets out on his 30-year probation thing.
Yeah.
But
that's true.
So like,
but we don't see we meet Red at like
his 10-year one, so it is 20 years.
So, yeah.
You got my ass.
But what was I gonna say? But no, so of course it's like way back 1940, 1960. Of course, like I was not alive then. I don't know what the prison system was like then. But I assume
it was probably a little racist. Is probably my guess.
I mean,
because it certainly is today.
Exactly. Like I was sitting there thinking I was like about if I could survive in prison. I don't want to have to make friends with the white supremacists,
right?
Because all the white people have to go hang out with the white people. You know what I mean? Or at least that's how it seems. That's how it seems from, their produced TV shows that they put on for us. And we tune into with our little popcorn. But you know what I mean? Like, it seems so unrealistic. And while I'm on my soapbox, can I just say another thing that really kind of pissed me off?
About the prison industrial complex? Yeah, pop off.
Maybe not about the prison industrial complex, and maybe this is an unfair criticism, I will say, because I do think what they did was good in the way that, you know, they didn't really show, they obviously showed a struggle, but they never showed any of the actual rape scenes that take place in this movie. If this took place in a woman's prison, or if, like, say this was an Orange is the New Black situation, and obviously not Orange is the New Black because their writers are really good and brilliant and considerate, they would never once give them the consideration.
Yeah.
That would be written right in all up and down the walls.
Yeah, I do think the, I don't want to say tasteful, but like the aversion of showing too much, but heavily implying of the rape is part of what, again, makes this movie so palatable, because it's like, oh, we get the idea of prison violence without ever having to interact with it.
Exactly.
We get this vague looming threat of a guy who's going to jump out of the shadows and pull a bag over your head, and then you're kind of allowed to fill in the rest. I think the worst we get is that scene where he's basically like, I'm going to drive this drill into your skull, and then we get the clapback of like, my jaw's gonna lock shut and chomp your dick off implications. Like, okay, that was about as much of a confrontation as we got, but other than that, it was like, oh, they're in the showers a little bit, but nothing really, nothing that even your grandpa would find really too much.
Exactly. And besides that, it was the early on in the movie, it was the fat inmate getting beat to death. Like, they do not give you, like, I don't know. I feel like it was kind of glossed over.
What, like the fat phobia? That they were just, like, making fun of him for being fat, and then they beat him to death? No,
but it's like, I think... No.
It was a joke. It was,
exactly. Because the whole thing was a joke. And, like, obviously, like, they get you at the end with the, like, he's dead. And then it's grave. And then it turns grave, and then scene change. Now we're carving chess pieces, and now we're moving on. That's what I'm saying. Exactly. No, okay, yeah, you get what I'm saying then.
I do. No, I think entirely, again, this movie doesn't actually make you confront or deal with anything difficult, and then actually at the back end has a very happy message. This is a very happy movie. It ultimately is all about hope and friendship, and all of when they, you know, pontificate on that, it's beautiful, and they spend a lot of time with it, and they're like, okay, and also he's getting raped every day, just so you know that. Mm-hmm. Moving forward, and then like a beautiful scene about the power of friendship, and like a man raising a crow. Like, oh my god.
Oh yeah, and then Brooks kills himself, but then the library.
Well, Brooks kills himself, but honestly, it's like you leave that scene feeling kind of like, well, damn, like he kind of made some points there. He was not having a good time.
Absolutely. And I mean, I think that out of all of the scenes and all of the points that is to be made, like, obviously the institutionalization thing, and that the thing that Morgan Freeman's character Red harps on the entire time is becoming institutionalized. And that feels like the only thing they even get close to really hammering home and being like, this is important.
Right. You know? And for some reason, I feel like if this is like the number one most popular movie of all time, then maybe people weren't really taking the right messages away, or maybe those messages were buried too much or something. Because
sanitized.
Why? Yes, sanitized. Because why can we not then all ubiquitously agree that, like, prisons are bad, the prison system is bad? We all love this fucking movie, but then everyone loves the fucking cops. Like, that makes no goddamn sense. Pick one. Then. Yeah. Okay, you love the Shawshank Redemption. Shawshank Redemption is your favorite movie, and you voted for Donald Trump. You should say it. No, but do you know what I mean? Like, I mean, things like this that are so popular, but the things like this that are presenting what I think is like a pretty clear, you know, message, and then you're like, everyone just must not be getting it because they're like, oh, it's a fun prison break movie. It's like,
it's almost romanticized in a way. Yes. You know, obviously, like you said, it's the way that we take little snapshots of the bad stuff, and then we're sitting on the roof with our boys drinking a bottle of suds. You know, like even, I mean, I know we're all over the place with the plot, but I just assume everyone has seen. I assume you've seen it 1,000 times out of order, anyways. We just clocked in. We've all seen it now. Oh, it's great. But even the part where the warden, who's like our main antagonist, of course, he sort of starts shelling out the prison labor as like a contracted labor force to do like highway projects or whatever, and we just get the
scantest of a scene where it's like sort of the greater political implications of prison labor, right? And then we just move on, right? And then it's like, oh, and then I worked at the library, right? We get the scene about allocating the funds for the books and how impactful the books are, and how good it is that he sought out this, how having one person in a library who's willing to help other people can make so much of a difference, right? But then that message is then just sort of hazily moved on from. I don't know.
And I don't want to sit here and harp on it and say like, well, this movie did XYZ and like they could have done so many things better. Like, obviously every movie has that. And I do think that the message that it does give you is important. I think having empathy and keeping hope alive and like obviously taking actions and not rolling over and dying are very important things for us.
Yeah. Real. Watching this right now, I'm not gonna lie, I was feeling a little emotional this Shawshank watch around.
And that's fair. That's fair.
Any like criticisms I have of this film for its like treatment of the prison industrial complex as a topic of, a plot point or whatever is probably the same for any other movie that uses prisons or prison breaks or any sort of representation of that. Like, they're all bad. There's not really good prison media a lot.
Well, I'm curious because you are a big Green Mile fan. I have never actually sat down and watched the whole thing.
It's hard.
I've watched chunks. Never gotten like through it fully. How would you say? And because they are both Stephen King stories, so how would you say they compare? At least in movie form. I don't know if you've read both.
Yeah, so I have not read Shawshank Redemption.
Sure.
It's just a short story, I believe, in a greater like compilation of Stephen King short stories. But I did read The Green Mile in middle school, and it's been quite a while since.
Insane.
But it has been a while since I rewatched the movie, actually. But now that we're sort of hashing this all out, The Green Mile does seem to me then like the logical next step of that. It is those harsher realities,
critique.
and we are actually like confronting. And then it is also buried within a story that's got a lot of shit going on. Like Sam Rockwell is there training rats. Like it's also this whole other thing, and it's also probably not a perfect or maybe even good, like, whatever. But I think it's probably doing better than this movie is for certain. Certain, at least with addressing or at least bringing some sort of point of view. Yeah. Really, even saying literally even anything about like this movie started the sentences and then just moved on from them. Whereas I feel like that one sits with it a little bit more for sure. In a way that is harsh and thought-provoking and tough. Yeah,
and there's a reason why I have not gone through all of that movie.
Yeah, and you don't have to, and you certainly don't have to.
Yeah, but I don't know. It's just, I guess now that we're on it, it does. Yeah, it wouldn't be as beloved of a movie if it did ask those hard questions and did really make you think. Yeah.
Which The Green Mile is not regarded the same way as Shawshank is. But I would say it is as good of an adaptation as this one is, because they're made by the same guy actually. Frank Darabont. He's French, or Hungarian, I think. Hungarian French. But Mr. Frank Darabont, he made this movie. This was his first big full feature film.
Whoa, that's a crazy one to start with.
Isn't that wild? And then he made The Green Mile, and then he also made The Mist, which in 2007, which I haven't seen. I'm like actually kind of interested to look more into what's going on with the 2007.
Especially around 2007 when they had pretty chunky visual effects.
Yeah, I
with something like Mist, I feel like it's gonna roll in like a slide.
Yeah, I honestly don't know anything about it until hear that I didn't know that it was the same guy who made this movie. He screen wrote and directed both The Green Mile and The Shawshank Redemption and apparently The Mist. But he was the person behind seasons 1 and 2 of The Walking Dead. also kind of interesting.
That makes sense. That makes a lot of sense, actually.
And that's sort of it from glazing over his IMDb. That's about all I have known of his. He's done some other stuff here and there, but those just seem to be his major works of note. Specifically his Stephen King adaptations, which him and Stephen King were friends. It's actually kind of interesting. Stephen King, once he started getting some money, and like getting pretty famous, he started this program called the Dollar Babies, and he would
what is that?
You could become a dollar baby by any Stephen King short story, so not major novels, but any just short story from a book. If you as a young filmmaker wanted to make a movie adaptation, a film adaptation of any Stephen King short story, all you had to do was give him $1. And he still owned the copyright rights to, the intellectual property rights, but anyone can adapt a Stephen King for a while. It was like a thing he did for a while. He's like, anyone
so sick.
He said, just give me $1. That's the formal transaction. And then you can make it. And my name isn't on it other than the fact that you just used my stuff as inspiration.
No wonder. Do you know how long he did this for and what the time range was?
Probably 20 years. I think he did this for a really long time. Yeah.
No wonder I didn't know this was a Stephen King movie or based on a Stephen King novel, whatever, short story.
I think that's a really smart way to sow some seeds, right? Because he's like, well, if they don't do good, who cares? But then you might end up getting some people who make really dope adaptations of your shit, and then they're beloved films as well.
That's so smart. Yeah.
So cool. And
you can also you can say whatever you want about them. You let them do it for $1. You're allowed to have your opinion, which I like. That he's like, yeah, I don't like The Shining.
Yeah, he said that his that is a different story because actual books and stuff.
Yes.
But he said that same idea. He said his lawyers were like, "Oh, this is an awful idea," and he's like, "I think it's great." He's like, I think if a young inspired filmmaker reads something of mine and wants to make it, I don't think I should discourage that, which is so fucking cool.
Absolutely agree.
But Darabont first was a dollar baby, so he just made a Stephen King short. It was called, Woman in the Room? And he said it's bad. He was like, he didn't even like it himself. And he was like, yeah.
Well, sure, but you gotta start.
But that's how it was like he made a short film of a Stephen King short story, and that's how they sort of met right through this adaptation process. And then they were like friends for their whole lives. And he had given him permission to adapt a bunch of stuff and a bunch of IPs that he ended up letting go. But he was going to let him do The Dark Tower at one point. He was going to let him do The Monkey, which I think is like a movie now that is a thing that people are talking about.
That movie just came out. That's by
Oz Perkins.
Oz Perkins. Yep. Mr. Anthony Perkins' son and writer-director of Longlegs.
What else was it? But there were a bunch of things that Stephen King just let this guy. He's like, yeah, you should do all of them. He's like, you're doing a great job.
He's like, actually, can you do my favorites?
Yeah, right. Yeah, that's why he adapted so many Stephen King books and so truthfully and faithfully, is because they were like, they were close collaborators and friends. But Stephen King himself said, he's like, at the beginning of a project, want to either decide, am I a producer? Am I on this? Or am I not? And if the answer is no, then I'm totally detached. You don't ask me a single question. I don't want to be involved, because then if I don't like it, my name's not on it, other than the fact that you just used my book, right? So that's what he's like, I trust you, do what you want with it. And he says that these are some of his favorite of, stuff of his that has been turned into movies, that this is probably his favorite one, or like, at least the most true.
Makes me want to go watch some Stephen King interviews.
Yeah.
Suss out what this guy is like, because he sounds exceptionally cool, but then I remember the child orgy.
Well, yeah. Well, he had a troubled relationship with substance abuse throughout his life. I believe, of course, you can sort of track how that impacted his work in certain areas. But yeah, I don't know too much about him, like, as a person, other than that he's from Maine, and I've been to it. I don't know much about him other than that I've been to his house. No, I haven't been inside his house.
But I was just about to ask, like, I was like, I bet he has a beautiful home.
Yeah, you can go see the outside of it, and I don't think he like actually lives there, like. anymore. I think it just,
sure.
Or I don't really know, but yeah, you can go.
It'll be
people.
I'm
people
sure
put stuff out on his lawn. Like people put trinkets and like leave stuff
and dead
to like
cats.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. No, I'm sure it'll be like a national landmark or something at some point.
When he passes.
Of course. How old is he? He's got to be in his 80s,
he's still alive, right? He's not dead. Some birds cannot be caged. And you know what? I think if we ask Mr. Andy Dufresne, chocolate or vanilla, after he's done climbing out of that tunnel, honey, he's not picking chocolate. I'm telling you that much. Oh!
That's for sure.
Anyways, I'm here with my lovely mother, Jen. She's here to host her interim podcast segment, Chocolate or Vanilla. She's going to say two things. We're all going to say which one we like better, but pivot, pause, before I ask you what the theme this week is. You selected Stephen King options for us, and we decided to go with Shawshank. You obviously just know this as like reputably one of the best movies, duh, but is there any like special shouts out you have for it, or did you just include it because it's like, of course, why haven't we covered it?
Yeah, I guess it was a go-to for sure at our house. There's nothing wrong with this movie. It's like engaging. Like you cannot look away the whole time. I have nothing bad to say about this movie.
Yeah, no one does. Honestly, no one does. And those who are reaching.
Morgan Freeman at his best. Absolutely. Right?
Easily.
At least the first role that I think of, for sure. Maybe 7 is like a short second place, but is there a theme this week?
This is Stephen King week.
Oh, hell yeah.
And there's like so many Stephen King movies.
Books,
it's crazy.
Movies, shit you didn't even know about, TV
I didn't know
series.
This was his. Yeah. Do you guys think he's overrated?
No.
I mean, I don't like all of his books. Sure. I don't think they're all maybe overrated in the sense that he's not my favorite, but like has anyone been more impactful to the horror genre? Like, I don't know.
Hard to say. Like defines a generation.
It's like indisputably,
And he's from Maine. Like, you gotta love the New England factor.
Of course.
Oh, so I was going to ask you guys, I can't remember what year this was.
94. One of the craziest years in film, Jen.
Ooh.
Why so?
Forrest Gump and Pulp Fiction also came out this year. 1994 was for the books. If you just look up what came out in 1994, stacked year. Crazy year.
Yeah. Was Shawshank nominated?
Yep, but it didn't win a thing.
Not a
shit.
Thing.
Nope.
Oh, wow. That's crazy.
I believe it was nominated for 7, but it didn't take home any of them. Because Forrest Gump was there and took so much, and Pulp Fiction as well.
Did Pulp Fiction win?
Yeah, I think Samuel L. Jackson won for supporting actor, maybe, I want to say.
Shit.
Probably, I would guess it probably also won for, like, production design or something. I don't know. That's neither here nor there.
I'm assuming both of these boys were nominated, correct? Yeah, okay.
We rented freaking The Brutalist for $20 freaking dollars, but we did it because...
I think I had to purchase it. I'm the proud owner of The Brutalist.
You guys finally watched it?
Oh my God, it was horrible.
It was just long and boring.
Yeah.
It Lydia Tarred the fuck out of me because I thought that this was real. I thought this was a movie about the real guy who invented brutalism, the architectural style. And then no, this is fiction. It's historic fiction, but it's just fiction. And so like the way I thought, I was like, who is Lydia Tarr's an EGOT? I was telling people that. I was like, she's a real woman and she's an EGOT. No, that's just the power of Cate Blanchett. So I guess the power of Adrian Brody. I just thought this man was real.
Was he that good?
He was like fine. He was like whatever. He was like a serious and kind of eccentric guy. Whatever.
Sure. Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, real tough.
So chocolate or vanilla?
Chocolate.
Vanilla.
I'm gonna go vanilla. Green Mile or The Mist?
So these are notably the other 2 movies that this same director adapted from Stephen King and are his. Yep, in 2007. I've never seen it.
Huh.
So we'll have to give it a whirl.
I think that's the only Stephen King story that I've ever read.
That's pretty funny. Yeah, I was going to say, just not to spoil later, but I've never seen The Mist, and I'm really curious now, too, because I also love The Green Mile, because I'm going to pick The Green Mile, because that's the Stephen King I read, like, a little too young, maybe, or just, like, it really affected me, and I thought that it was a very faithful book-to-movie adaptation, and it was really gratifying to, like, read the book and then watch the movie, and, like, even though it's so deeply upsetting, it was, like, I don't know, very formative experience for me.
Yeah, unfortunately, I do find it too deeply upsetting. I'm gonna go The Mist.
That's an SSR story. There's like in 6th grade, and they have after lunch you have to read.
Stop it.
Well, yes,
teacher's like, "How you doing over there, Dara?"
I wonder. Do they still have in elementary schools? It was called SSR, Sustained Silent Reading. Yep. And for like a half an hour every day, they were like, everybody has to just read for a half an hour. Yep. It was beautiful. After lunch, too. Yeah, so good.
Yeah, well,
I should implement that into my life. I need SSR.
Everyone else is looking out the window. Dara is enthralled in the
shaking.
Yeah, I'm like, he's training the fuck out of that mouse to do something, and we're about to learn what. Yeah.
I will go Green Mile also. Next one, Salem's Lot or Dreamcatcher.
So I'm not entirely familiar with either of these. Salem's Lot is about what?
Salem's Lot is about like a town full of vampires that it's like a town full of vampires that takes over. And I think it's set in Salem's Lot, Maine. So like,
well, yes, of course.
Traveling there, they end up there. And
then what is Dreamcatcher about? I was going to say the only thing I know about that is that they filmed it somewhere near where we live.
They filmed it at Quabbin Reservoir. And
shouts out Central Massachusetts.
Donnie Wahlberg and that Timothy Oliphant, who I love so much.
Right, but, Deadwood.
That's about like aliens who look like humans.
Okay, interesting. I will shout out the Quabbin Reservoir, and I will be picking Dreamcatcher.
What was the first one called?
Salem's Lot.
I'm going to go Salem's Lot. I was recommended, I guess there's a new TV show that they did for it recently.
Yes, that is correct.
So I'm going to go that, and I think the concept appeals to me more.
Yeah, I'm going to go Dreamcatcher because of the Massachusetts of it all. And, fun fact, there were these 5 towns that they flooded with water, and that's the Quabbin Reservoir.
Oh, yeah?
They're like, yeah. Next one is Pet Cemetery or Cujo.
Pet Cemetery has a bit more whimsy to it than Cujo, which is really just about a scary dog, right? So I'm going to pick Pet Cemetery.
I'll go Pet Cemetery as well.
You think, like, that animals coming up through the grave is whimsy?
Is more whimsical than just a dog that is ferocious.
I will go Cujo. Next one, Firestarter or Children of the Corn.
What is Firestarter about?
Oh, Drew. They have remade that, by the way, 3 times, I feel.
Oh, wow.
Yikes.
Drew Barrymore, when she's a little kid, she starred in it, and she's a possessed little kid who can start fires.
Oh, okay. And then Children of the Corn is Children of the Corn, which I feel like I have to pick because at least I know what that is.
Yeah, I think I'm also going to go Children of the Corn on this.
Yeah, I'll go Firestarter.
Although I will say I don't like a creepy child trope. That I'm like,
yeah.
Next one is It or Stand By Me.
From the movies, Stand By Me. That's like one of my all-time faves. Stand By Me. I haven't read it, but my husband has, and I feel like people say that that shit is wild. Like that the movies don't even come close to.
Yeah, well, there's like a child orgy.
Yeah,
it didn't have to be written. The drugs took over on that one. Wild. So yeah, so for that reason, I will be choosing Stand By Me.
I will definitely go with Stand By Me. Next one is Carrie or Christine.
Carrie. Christine's the car.
Possessed car.
I don't think I know her. I'll go Carrie. Wait, actually, no. I'm gonna go Christine because that sounds amazing.
Yeah. Is there a movie of that?
Yes, definitely.
Oh.
Yes. Yeah.
Oh, maybe we have to watch that. Should we have a Stephen King month? Maybe that's what we do for March.
For something, yeah.
And I will pick Carrie also. Next one is two of my fave Kathy Bates ones, Dolores Claiborne or Misery.
What is Dolores Claiborne?
Yes.
So I think she like murders her employer, and then the daughter is a lawyer, like a murder mystery.
And did the movie come out before or after Misery?
I want to say before.
I love Misery. That's a Stephen King that I actually have read, which is not true of a lot of them. And I remember really enjoying the book, and I enjoyed the movie because I watched it while I was bedridden, and so it felt a little too real. I was like, oh my God, Kathy Bates is here with me.
It's just your cats.
Yeah. I'm like typing a fan fiction for my cats, like for my life, and they're like not changing my bandages.
I'll go Misery on this one, just because I think it's the more iconic.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, same. I'll go Misery. I remember that I read Misery. I had an internship in Colorado, and I would read it on the bus on my way into work.
Oh.
Next one is Sleepwalkers or Thinner.
I haven't seen either of these.
So Sleepwalkers is like kind of shapeshifters.
Okay.
Shapeshifters. And Thinner is this guy who gets a curse on him. He's like an overweight guy, and he gets this curse on him where he starts losing weight to the point where he's like turns into a skeleton.
Oh, that sounds deeply upsetting. I'll pick the Shapeshifters.
Yeah, I'll go Shapeshifters on this one too. Do you think at a certain point it was like the first thing that he popped into his head? He was like, "Yeah, I'll write that."
Yeah, he's like, I can crank out 300 pages of anything.
Exactly. And I can make it just scary enough for mass appeal. Yeah. The Shining or The Dead Zone.
What is The Dead Zone?
So you would like The Dead Zone. It's like early 80s, and it's Christopher Walken. And he can like, when he touches you, he can see the future. So it messes with him, and he's like, I don't know. Like, he can see your future, and then I think he maybe tries to change it or whatever.
I'll have to check it out. Love Christopher Walken and love a Stephen King adaptation. Sure. But I will be picking The Shining as it is iconic.
Yeah.
I've not read the book, and I know Mr. King has some issues with the movie adaptation, and I don't have the knowledge to get into the discrepancies there. But I love the movie, so I will be picking that.
Yeah, that's one that I just got a Blu-ray player, and I was very kindly gifted a handful of DVDs or Blu-rays. And that's one of them, so I gotta sit down and really give her that time. So I'm gonna go with The Shining.
Yeah, I'll go with The Shining for the sweep. That's another Colorado story for me, though. My high school softball team was in a tournament, and there's a hotel, the hotel that they filmed The Shining at, right? Has a restaurant, and we got to go to the restaurant.
Ooh. That's really cool.
Yeah. I got prime rib, and I called it roast beef. My coach was like, "Yeah, that's prime rib." You
roast
stupid bitch.
Beef.
Love it. Oh my God.
Well, thank you, Jen, for providing us with some Stephen King this week. As always, we love you, and we'll see you next week.
All right, I love you guys. Have an awesome night.
Bye, love you.
Bye. Love you. But I guess, Frank Darabont had been a dollar baby for this other film, and he gave Stephen King, $5,000 for the rights to this, and he was like, I would like to do, hey pal, I want to do this, here's $5,000, can I have the rights? And he was like, yes. And then he goes for it and he makes it, and then years down the line, Stephen King sends him back that he never cashed the check, that he framed it, and he wrote a message on it, for when you need to get out of jail bond or something, whatever, just
stop it.
It's I never, I knew that you should do this, which is really nice.
Oh my God.
I know, again, as much as I'm this movie is an inaccurate depiction of the American political justice system, I'm but it is really nice when movies are good, isn't it? It's really nice when they are just
I also when I can relax and watch a movie. You know, if I wanted to watch The Green Mile, I would watch The Green Mile.
Everyone is doing their job so fucking on it right The lighting is lit. The actors are acting. Just the script supervisor is supervising. Like, this movie, tight. And there's not a scene that I'm like, that shouldn't have been in there.
No.
Every scene is effective and makes you feel something and progresses the plot. And it's so good.
Yeah, no, it's one of those ones, like, I almost came in today. I was like, I don't have many notes, honestly.
Yeah,
because
it's a tough one.
There's nothing. What do I say?
It's sort of tough to, I don't know, critique again, because I do find other people who are like, this movie's mid. I'm like, whatever. Like,
I'm like, it has like the 90s cinematography, of course, but it was the 90s.
Again, as we discussed, I think it's like a little too palatable, but it's like, what criticism is that? Oh, this movie's just like too generically good. It's just too watchable. Oh my God.
Oh God, I'm not uncomfortable enough.
Well, I guess to get into, so you had never seen it before.
Yeah.
I want to know your sort of first impressions. I mean, of course, other than the cultural ubiquity of you probably knew he was going to crawl through the shit tunnel.
I didn't know that he was the shit tunnel. I knew he escaped.
That he's gonna dig out.
I knew he
dug.
Little... Yeah, I knew the poster was the thing hiding it and all that. Yeah, I didn't know like what he was there for or anything like that. I don't know. I feel like I did really absorb most of this movie, like photosynthesis wise, from Cable. But it was just really nice to sit down and like enjoy it. Honestly, it was like the thing. It was like the movie that I watched on my day off, and again, like I just put it on again today, which says plenty. You know,
rewatchability factor times 1,000. Yeah,
yeah. You immediately want to watch it again because I'm going back and I'm like, okay, I know, I knew the gist, but now I'm like, I know the gist. You know.
And truly, all you need is one good, attentive watch through, and then imagine that you could hop into this story at any time marker, which is, it's the perfect Cable movie. Yeah. Just like, throw me in when, what's his name? The Elvis guy, when he's getting introduced. Like, all right, let's start there.
Excuse me. Why was that Joseph Quinn? Do you know what I mean?
You thought so? And a little bit now that you say it.
I thought I could see it. Almost spot on.
Wait, let me pull him up.
It makes so much sense in my eyes.
Shawshank Redemption. Yeah, now that you're saying it, I'm forming the 3D model in my mind and I'm rotating it around
Tommy.
And I can see it. Yeah, Shawshank Redemption, Tommy. So he was like the young, cool guy character who comes in and then gets fucking murked by the warden for telling the goddamn truth.
Yeah.
Wait, it's the nose. It's the, I see it.
I thought it was the eyes.
I see it.
Yeah, I don't know.
Wow.
I was like, it would be nice to see Mr. Quinn with that hair instead of the blonde shit he's been rocking.
No, if you want to hear
you, Dara.
If you want to hear me talk about Joseph Quinn for probably exactly an hour, head on over to the Patreon where we are talking about Fantastic Four, and we're going to talk about the one from the early 2000s, but we're also going to talk speculation about the new one because I unfortunately am a White Boy of the Month subscriber to Mr. Joseph Quinn.
Of course.
My George Harrison, we're locking in for that. That's going to be bad.
I'm waiting for the leaked stills.
But it's only $2.86. So if you want to come party with us over on the Patreon, we're pretty lax over there. But we usually try to cover new movies. But because we were anticipatory about Fantastic Four, we decided, it would be fun to like rewatch the chunky old one.
Maybe we should do the monkey sometime now.
The new Oz Perkins one?
Yeah, it seems really fun, honestly, from what I saw. And I hated Long Legs.
I was about to ask, did you like Long Legs? Because I didn't see it.
I thought it was fucking stupid.
Everyone was talking about pissing themselves in the theater, and I said, that doesn't sound like a good time, so...
No, I thought it was dumb and overrated and overhyped, and I thought they couldn't settle on one fucking horror trope. I thought it was stupid. And the people that said it was a modern day Silence of the Lambs, that shit is blasphemous.
Yikes. I feel like once I had seen the like screenshots on Twitter of like what he looks like at the end, it sort of was like, okay.
They showed us so much of him that I wasn't scared. Like, if you're gonna try and freak me out by saying like, look at this, like, especially with like facial deformities or anything like that, Do better, dude. Come on.
Yeah, I had no interest in seeing it, and then the discourse like deterred me even further. But I also have no interest really in the monkey. Because our boy fucking Theo James, I think is like not a great actor. I think he's like fine.
Did you? And then, I think honestly, here's the thing.
I haven't watched White Lotus.
There you go.
So I can't say.
I think he's grown a good amount since 2013.
Yeah, maybe I should give him some room to prove to me first before I leave it all on the Divergent series.
Exactly. You got to give this man a second. At least watch the White Lotus, which is actually bonkers to me that you haven't watched that.
No, because I love Mike White. I know. I feel like I'm saving it for some time when I'm really down and I need like to.
Oh yeah, something to pull you out of the spiral.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm sure I would love it, but. Mm-hmm. The only thing I know about the new Oz Perkins monkey movie is that they like had to give him cymbals instead of a drum. Is that it? Or they gave him a drum instead of cymbals? That's what it is. They gave him a drum, but the original monkey has the cymbals. And it was this whole thing because the Stephen King IP obviously has the cymbal monkey, but then Disney specifically bought the rights to monkey with cymbals for something in a Toy Story, like Toy Story 4 or something. Right.
They wanted to use IP for a monkey with cymbals. Eat my dick! Oh my god!
So Oz Perkins literally ran into that red tape and had to rewrite the script for it to be a different instrument because they were like, it can be a monkey with literally a saxophone. It can have any instrument. It just can't be cymbals because Disney owns that. Isn't that so wild?
I'm like actually fucking mad, dude. Oh my god.
I read that about it and I was like, well, you probably should have just stopped there then.
That shit is just so fucking, really?
Pick a different one.
That's the tape, girlfriend. I don't know. There's about 6,000 others to pick from. Shit just makes me mad that, like, this is the society that we've created, is that someone can have the fucking call on monkey with cymbals, and if I went and made a short film and put it on YouTube, I would probably get fucking copyright stricken or whatever. Just ridiculous. Grow up.
Yeah.
Sorry, I got a lot of gas in the tank tonight.
No, yeah, get mad. Honestly, get mad, because this movie should be getting more mad. I'm like, you know what, Andy Dufresne? I think it's pretty fire that you broke out of prison and you took the man down with you.
Absolutely.
You're pretty mild-mannered about it the whole time.
Literally.
And then, again, people talking about whether he's a likable protagonist or not, I don't give a fuck, because it's not about him. It's about Morgan Freeman, and we all can agree that we love Morgan Freeman.
Was this the thing that really set him on, like, the narration streak?
Maybe. I was going to say the voiceover track. Yeah. I mean, I think he's always had an iconic voice, but I do wonder if this movie helped set a precedent of him doing really that, like, the voiceover, stand-in for the audience. It makes sense.
94, it's still pretty, not early in his career, but, we're in 2025 now, so it's been a bit.
I thought it was pretty wild. He's 57 in this movie, in real life. He's 57. Great. I thought he looked so good.
Yeah, he looks phenomenal.
He was talking about, he's like,
Andy Dufresne. For a second.
He was like, Andy Dufresne, he's a young guy. I'm like, y'all are the same age. What do you mean? I'm like, how? And then I Google how old was Morgan Freeman. I was like, oh my God. Like, I know they were obviously trying to play his age down a little bit there, but sure. I also thought that this movie, just using the same actors to play the same people.
Love.
I mean, not that you really, people, once you're an adult, you sort of look how you look. I don't really know, but I thought the aging was fine. I was willing to suspend my disbelief. They're like, yeah, 10 years have passed. I'm like, okay, I don't care that he looks the same. I don't care that he looks like he aged a day. Like, I don't.
That's actually great.
The gray highlights and stuff. I was like, I thought it was.
Sure, fine.
Yeah.
I'll take that. That's actually crazy because I remember watching. Okay. For me, personally, the first thing that comes into my mind when I think of Morgan Freeman is Robin Hood, Prince of Thieves. Because that's the movie that my mom always stopped on. Probably because Kevin Costner was cute. Personally, I was Christian Slater. But Morgan Freeman was in that, like, riding horses doing action stunts at, like, Yeah, now that you say that, he was probably like, what, 55? Nuts. And he looked phenomenal. I would have hit in that movie.
Oh, I'd hit in this. Red can get it.
I bet he'd be a real gentleman.
Yeah. No, I was like, damn, Morgan Freeman, you're looking good in this.
Honestly. So,
wait,
with that...
But do you know who...
Oh, yeah.
Wait, I was going to say, with that, do you know who I have a crush on? Oh my God, I love Mr. Krabs. Did you know Clancy Brown, the guy who plays, not the warden, but like the head enforcer, like the general?
Shut up!
That is from 1999 to present day, the voice of one Eugene Krabs. I fucking love Clancy Brown. If you're not familiar with the repertoire of a one Mr. Clancy Brown, I love this man.
Tell me.
He just pops up and shit, and I'm so elated to see him. He's so good in this.
Hi, Clancy.
I personally, if you look up how he looks in the movie Highlander, he plays like the antagonist, and he wears this like fucking awesome, like punk fur Dungeons and Dragons type like chain outfit, and he like carries an axe. He's so fucking cool. Like that's what I get gender envy about. I want to look like him so bad. Clancy Brown in Highlander. God. Yeah, right. Do you see like he plays such like a good big menacing mean guy, but he's a phenomenal voice actor as well, and is in probably a lot of your favorite shows. He's in like fucking everything. But notably he is Mr. Krabs. Yeah, he's got that like really deep, rich, commanding voice as well.
That's for sure. Oh man, yeah. He looks great, honestly.
Even though
phenomenal.
Oh yeah, his hair. Mm-hmm.
He's got flowing locks. Good for him.
I know. That's why I feel like I don't actually have a crush on him in this movie. I just have a crush on Clancy Brown in general. So I do project it onto him in this movie, even though he's like literally kicking the shit out of everyone. I'm kind of like, I don't know. You could snipe me, and I wouldn't mind. You can snipe me from the rafters, Clancy, any day.
See, the one that did it for me was... What's his name? William Sadler, who played Haywood.
Oh, yeah.
I liked him. Mm-hmm. And then obviously Tommy, but... You know.
Yeah, now that you say Joseph Quinn, my mind is reeling.
Yeah, I bet.
So, I feel like with... Our main two characters, do we want to add like the warden? Who's our third? Because we've got Andy Dufresne, we got Red, and then who is our third for Fuck
Tommy's the prettiest.
That's true.
So if we want to like actually give us a challenge.
Yeah, because if it's a warden, we're just going to kill him.
Exactly.
I feel like if it's Brooks, we're probably still just going to kill him.
Yeah.
Who like pound for pound has the most screen time? Probably the warden.
Probably.
But,
yeah. Let's do Tommy.
Because I'm going to fuck him. For
Obviously,
sure.
Yeah.
And then I'm gonna, this is easy. Of course, now I'm gonna marry Red. Duh. And then I'm gonna kill Andy Dufresne. Easy.
Yeah. Yeah, he's Jesus anyway. He's not real in this. It's just a figment of, he's a meta, I don't know.
Except I do kind of like how he has all his ducks in a row. I like that. I could probably marry him and he would have everything. He's like, I got the Roth IRA from 10 decades ago set up, babe. We're good for life.
You would go on the most organized vacations ever.
Oh, me and Andy Dufresne. Yeah, for sure. No, because I'm also trying to peace out and live in Zwatenejo. You know, I'm also trying to live the bungalow beachside life with him.
So are you still going to kill him then?
No, I'm still going to kill him because I'm just going to do that with Morgan Freeman now.
But who's going to organize it? You think you're good enough to organize it?
No. No, but
you have to build a lifelong companionship with Morgan Freeman before this, so that you can convince him. Do you think you can do that?
I think
if you can do that, then maybe you'll have a shot.
I have to wrongfully go to prison for a crime I didn't commit and build a 30-year-long relationship with Morgan Freeman.
Hey, Dara, hope is the most important thing, though. So,
oh my God, and what is it? Something truly good never dies. So real. And what about you?
Oh, same thing. Easily.
Yeah, easy. And then from the whole movie, like, I don't know.
Haywood. I'm fucking Haywood.
Okay.
I like that boy.
Yeah.
He's got like marbles rolling around and a couple of springs in his head. I found him charming.
When he's singing Hank Williams.
Yes. Literally to the Yodel Boy song, that's just a Hank Williams song, but to me, that's Mason Ramsey.
Boy. Oh my God, not his government name. Not Walmart. Not Walmart Boy's government name. No, he's fully 35 now. Believe it or not, the Walmart Yodel Boy is 35 now. He works at an H&R Block, prepping taxes, baby.
Feel old.
Feel old now. And so then what are you going to eat and drink? You're going to host a little Shawshank Redemption party, I guess. And then you're going to feed your guests. In real life, I ate a local ice cream brand that is fire called Giffords.
Yes!
Some Giffords. No, it was actually Mississippi Mudslide. And
hell yeah, that's a good one.
My personal favorite flavor of ice cream, regardless of brand, is just a coffee ice cream base with the Oreo chunks in it, like the cookie Oreo crumble. So that's what a Mississippi Mudslide is. But downing like elbow deep in a pint of an ice cream called Mississippi Mudslide while Tim Robbins climbs through that tunnel of Dookie is really something that I'm going to have to sit with for a while.
I'm sure. But what are you going to suggest then?
Oh, but so I don't suggest that at all. I think
that's going to make what you say it's coffee flavored?
Yeah.
Coffee flavored ice cream? Yeah. Girl, you're turning into the shit tunnel.
We're getting out of Shawshank. We're drilling through.
Okay.
But I'm thinking about this during this movie. I'm like Red, and I'm retrospect. We're telling the story, but we're on the beach with the meal while we think about what had happened. So at the end, where the movie ends, we're in Mexico. So I think you're going to have like a nice sangria and a fish taco. Like, what do I want like on that fucking beach with them? Right? And that's what I'm going to eat while I then watch the prison story unfold, because I'm sitting here knowing how it's all going to end, of course, beautifully.
That's
with some
nice.
sangria and fish tacos on the beach. Yeah.
I like the sound of that.
What about you?
I myself am going to go for a meal that is comparable to maybe what they were eating in there, but just to show you that truly this movie, it's not that bad. Nothing that I mean, like, definitely don't get me wrong, there's a lot of bad things that happen, but it's all very palatable. And you know what that is? Shepherd's pie.
You love a shepherd's pie, don't you?
Love a shepherd's pie.
You're always bringing this shit up. No, you do. You suggest shepherd's pie, I think, like once a quarter. This is our Q1. This is our Q1 shepherd's pie. Locking it in.
It's definitely like a comfort meal, and like
have you ever made them in a baked potato? You can just make like a twice baked potato, but just do shepherd's pie filling, and they're like
no, I haven't, but I should.
Easy personal shepherd's pie. I mean, shepherd's pie is like not that hard to make and like store as leftovers anyway. So I don't know why we need to be like mobilizing shepherd's pie, but I'm just saying that's the thing I saw.
Okay. Thank you for bringing up these patterns that I didn't recognize. It's one of those. Okay, here's my thing. The hot dog girl. Over it. I'm over it. You guys have killed it. It's stupid.
Oh,
you know what should come next? Shepherd's pie.
Slop girls. Give me a garbage plate girl. You think you're a hot dog girl? You think? Oh, no. Come to Rochester, New York, you fucking bitch.
I'll show you. I'll show you what we do to hot dogs up here.
But if anybody is in a hot dog era, I would highly recommend. There's this book by this really great podcaster and author. Her name is Jamie Loftus, and she wrote a book called Raw Dog, and it is exceptional, especially to listen to on audiobook. I believe I just checked mine out from my library on Libby, but you can probably find it like on Audible or whatever. But she's a podcaster, so she's got great, mic. She's very fun to listen to talk. And she toured across the country and ate all the hot dogs in all the different parts of America. And she like tells this story. It's like a picture of America through hot dogs. That's nice. It's beautiful. And it's a really cool book. And she also talks about like competitive hot dog eating and that sort of culture. And also just like the hot dog as an American institution and like what it represents. It's called Raw Dog.
Very nice.
I'll put a link to it in the description below. If you're in your annoying hot dog girl phase, at least do the 101 reading, okay?
Here, listen. I will say, there are true hot dog girls out there. Don't get me wrong. And I know them when I see them, but they're few and far between these days. It's... Anyways, just had to get that off my chest. I think there are a lot of people that do, obviously, this author has a lot of respect.
Oh, yeah. No, I'm just saying, yeah, if you're going to get into your hot dog bag, like, you know, get into it. Do the research. Do the work.
I
would not, even though I did eat a hot dog today, I would not quantify myself as a hot dog girly, as I'm still doing the work, I would say.
Sure.
I don't like mustard. I can't call myself a hot dog girl if I'm not going all out. If I'm not putting relish on there, then I need to just remove myself from the situation, from the conversation.
I will say, I had a hot dog, or a Chicago dog last year. That shit, gas. They know what they're doing.
And that's a hot take, because I feel like people say it's bullshit, but
I think it was great. I enjoyed it.
There's like a salad on top, right?
It's like a relish. It's like a relish and like a pepper or two, and like some onions. Too. Yeah,
yeah.
It's on like a really nice. It's not a sesame. It's like a poppy seed bun. Oh my god! It's a game changer, dog. That alone.
Well,
but I think you're also gonna have a beer with your shepherd's pie.
Yeah, for sure, because they're drinking beer on the top of that roof, and it's crisp. I
think you like go to your package store and you pick out the can that has the most fun design, and then you figure it out from there.
Honestly, because this movie is cracking a cold one with the boys.
Truly,
quite literally,
not a boy movie.
Nary a woman in sight.
Nope.
Okay.
Yeah.
We got the shadow of the silhouette of the side of a woman for a second.
Yeah, and then her dead body,
and then she gets murdered. Okay. For what being a fucking slut. Okay. So.
And then what are you gonna follow this up with?
So me personally, I'm quite interested in checking out the 2007 adaptation of The Mist now, just because it is this same writer-director, and he's knocked it out 2 for 2 in my books, so I'm thinking we just keep these good vibes rolling on to number 3. But as we're talking about the prison systems and prison media and how it just isn't always really working out, and the commentary isn't really commenting enough, and you know what, I just think we gotta reel it back and bring it to the best prison movie ever, and that's Holes, baby.
Yes.
I want to watch. If we're doing prison media, prison break media, there's only one, and it's Holes.
You're right.
Mm-hmm.
I feel my answers feel stupid now.
What? Well,
I think you do a direct comparison, this and then watch Forrest Gump, because I feel like that's also a movie in the same sort of vein where it's so palatable. Everyone loves Forrest Gump. You know? It's not making me really work. And you know what? After this movie, I don't really want to work. I'm kind of chilling.
Right. No, I think it would be really fun to host a 1994, either 94 Oscars party or just 94 in general, because you can also pull, other than this Pulp Fiction and Forrest Gump, you could also watch Speed. Came out in 1994. Love Speed. Or also the Winona Ryder Little Women. Came out in 94 as well.
That.
I think there's just a lot of really good movies from 1994 you could pull from. So you could just do a 1994 party. That could be kind of fire as well.
I think that is a great idea. I like that.
Hey, and I like that you guys are still listening. Thank you for doing that. You can follow the links in the description below to find us and engage with us in other ways if that's something that you want to do. You can let us know what movies you want us to cover. We'll put it on the list, and we will consider it when we do listener viewer months or whenever, or we'll check it out. If you tell me something I've never heard of before, I'm going to watch the trailer for that shit. Then maybe you will open my worlds to something new. It could be beautiful. It could be magical. Just slide into our DMs. You never know. But we also have an email and other ways, and also I feel like social media is kind of like horrible and confusing now. So also, if you guys are on, if you're like, yeah, we love Substack, we're all on Substack. Like, I don't know, should the swamp get a Substack? Should we?
Tell me.
I feel like I'm myself and like scrambling around on the ground, not knowing where to go. So trying to find where you guys are at is equally.
Where's
as
everyone
like
hanging out these days?
I don't even know where I am, so I don't really know, but.
Kind of just floating in space.
But with that being said, you can be sure to find us here where you listen to podcasts or over on the Patreon. Like I said, if you want to pay some money and listen to us talk about other stuff too, it helps the show. Anyways, gonna wrap this up here. Shawshank Redemption, get busy living, get busy dying, get busy with the rest of your day, bitch. Best of luck. Goodbye and good night.